Hello again. This is still spring here, but you wouldn't know by looking at the background here because it's raining and it's really a miserable day. But we're outside. It's not very cold, so we're gonna enjoy another bottle of wine. I'm here with my friend Francois. We talked a little bit a while ago about the wines from Corsica, and Francois, who spends a lot of time there, was able to bring some back with him. We did the white Lume together a few weeks ago, and now we're going to do a red wine, the Monte Bianco by Domaine Comte Abbatucci. And this Abbatucci family is really emblematic of Corsica and southern Corsica primarily. And Francois is going to tell us a little bit more about them because he sees them quite often over there.
Yeah, so the Abbatucci family is very well known in Corsica. They are from noble origin, and they're also linked to the history of the Napoleonic area, both Napoleon the First and Napoleon the Third. And they own a big piece of land south of Ajaccio, several hundred hectares, where they are making wines. They have about 20 or 30 hectares of vineyards, and most of the other part that they own is a place where they raise cattle and a special breed of cows, of beef, called la vache tigrée, which is specific to Corsica. And they also own a restaurant on their property south of Ajaccio, where they serve exclusively the meat and the wines of their domain. There are three brothers. One is in charge of the vineyards. The other one does the meat, I mean the raising of the cows. And the third one is in charge of the restaurant, where they serve exclusively the products of the family, plus some local products, some lamb coming from the mountains, and some cheese as well coming from one farm. It's an amazing place. It's a beautiful place, and there is nothing like having a lunch on their property, knowing that the meat and the wines and everything is coming from their land.
Well, it's makes us all jealous of Francois, and I think that was the point. Anyway, we're gonna show you some pictures of the restaurant and of their wine list and their wine catalog, if you want, for a few seconds, and then we can continue this. This is the restaurant. You see the menu. It's a very simple menu, and that's the youngest of the brothers, Henri, who runs the restaurant. So it's very meat heavy, as you can see from the menu. Hopefully you can see lots of different meat dishes. Some of them like steak, some of them really cooked. And there's so the meat is either the beef that Jacques, the cattle owner, if you want, runs, or is it from local farmers that they do business with that are all biodynamic. And you see the tree in the background. It's a beautiful cork oak that is very common, or used to be common in that part of the world. Just beautiful place. Here we see their wine list. This is by the glass and or by the bottle. It's all their wines. As you will see on this list, they have quite a few whites. They have actually several rosé on the domain. I don't know how many of them they serve at the restaurants, but also they make rosé out of the Sciaccarello, the wine we just had, which, since it's sort of soft and light colored, it does lend itself to that if you don't use the skins to some extent. They use a lot of local endemic varietals, like Vermentino, like Sciaccarello that we discussed, like Nieluciu, which is sort of the equivalent of Sangiovese that they mix in some of their wines. They use Carcajolu, they use Barbarossa, Genovese, Brustiano. Again, these are sort of varietals we don't really hear about very much, but they're all local. They've all been sort of nurtured and salvaged by the Abbatucci brothers to really help give rebirth to this whole wine area. So they have some elite cuvées that are sort of the general, the diplomat, and the minister. You may see it scrolling through, and those are actually quite involved assemblage of many different grapes, and they are really the elite wine. As we see here, they also have a lot of that for sale on the Domaine. In any case, Francois has made us all want to go and spend time at his house in Corsica and at the restaurant. Maybe some of us hopefully will have a chance to do that. In the meantime, we're going to enjoy what we have, which is this bottle of Monte Bianco. And again, these guys, by the way, the restaurant's name is Le Frère, which is funny because these are, three brothers. It's not Les Frères, it's Le Frère. So there's always something going on with these names. And then these guys have really been big pioneers of biodynamic farming in Corsica. I mean, the vineyards are entirely biodynamics. They have sheep, sort of roaming the thing and eating the grass. They really measure the density. They're very careful with the density of the vineyards. They pick the wine very carefully. I mean, this is 100%. This is the wine we're drinking here, and it's 100% Sciaccarello, which is a varietal endemic to Corsica, and it came from Italy originally, from Tuscany. In Tuscany is known as the Mamolo, which is interesting because it's used to mix, or Mamole, which is used to mix with Sangiovese in Chianti and in some Vino Nobile de Montepulciano. They make these guys make very good wines. They're rather expensive for a wine that most people have never heard of, which I think is an interesting paradox. They've done a good job on marketing. They're starting to get really better known in the US. Kermit Lynch imports the wines, and so with a name like this, he can really make a progress in the market. Let's just see what we have here. So if you look at the color, I don't know if you could tell, it's very light. It's really got that sort of light, almost pink, red that you see in some of the lighter Beaujolais, although of course this is nothing like that. On the nose, it's very floral. We were debating with Francois earlier, is it fruit, is it flowers? I think overall, to me, I get flower. And it's kind of interesting because mamole in Italian apparently means violet, the flower, and that's why they call it that way, because it has this very floral component. And you get this acidic sort of candy-like, thing. Really, this is a 15.5% alcohol, so you think you're gonna feel that. What do you think on the nose? Anything more to add on the nose?
No, I think you're right. I believe it's more floral than fruity. And as far as the alcohol level, I mean, it's kind of surprising because you don't really feel it.
You don't feel it, yeah, and even in the mouth. I'm just tasting it. Once we taste it, the palate is very interesting. Number one, it's very little tannins, and apparently this is a varietal that's known for that, very low tannin. There is this sort of mix of sort of fruit and a little bit of earth. I think you can tell, not necessarily earth, but there's this sort of, you feel you're walking in a field where you have some sort of slightly decomposed, herbs and branches. I mean, you feel that you're just coming out of labor of the earth. I feel it a little bit, and maybe I'm over imagining things, and it's not a turn off at all. It's got the candy, it's got the really long finish, very little tannin, not much of an attack. This is a very young wine, and I think we're not doing it a service by drinking it so young, but that's what's available in the market right now. Francois, with this high alcohol, do you feel that?
No, I don't feel it. Of course, if you drink 1 or 2 glasses of it, you'll end up feeling it.
But it doesn't really. It's actually misleading that way. It's really not. Doesn't taste like a very high alcohol wine. It's very clear, very light. On the one hand, it seems light. On the other hand, with the alcohol, I think it would go well with the kind of meat that they serve.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is sort of what they serve with their beef and they meet, and it's a very, very interesting contrast. I think it's something that we're really going to want to learn a lot more about. And thank you, Francois, for presenting us with this. And we'll have another Corsican wine to do together, maybe in another week or so. Cheers.
Cheers.
And see you soon.